Hello everybody, welcome to part 4 of the Timberwolf 250 project. In this part I will be addressing the brakes, the seat cover, seats in the bed of the truck right now, and then I'm also going to do a few little things, like I'm going to put new battery terminal connectors on these because these are, the wires are kind of frayed, and then also the connectors are a little corroded and discolored, so take care of that. Might address the lights too. We'll see how everything goes. But first of all, I'm going to address the brakes. So I think I'm going to start out with the rear drum brake right here because it's only on one side and it seems like it'll be the easiest. So just to show you guys what the problem with this rear drum brake is that it doesn't catch on anything. So it just goes all the way in and wheel still turns, so I don't know if the shoe isn't even touching or if it's just adjusted wrong, but we're gonna take the rear wheel off right now and find out. So I'm gonna take the rear wheel off. So took off the rear tire on the drum brake side and took off the drum. The drum looks pretty good. It's the shoes that are bad. So as you can see, the pads are not even existent. I even feel like someone might have taken the pads out because I've had problems with these type of brake pads where the pad itself comes unattached from the whole assembly and then they flop around in here. So someone must have just taken them out and then done the classic brakes, you mean first. So anyway, so I'm assuming that the front brake shoes are in similar condition to these. So I just ordered, So I just ordered a full set of brake shoes for this thing for 20 bucks. So anyway, so those will come in a few days, but so for now, I'm gonna break open the front brakes, or at least maybe one of them, and just see what the problem is with those and see if it's similar or if they'll work when I adjust them. Now, I think that these do have some sort of life on them because the cable does sort of work, like when you spin them, and then, like, I don't think I got that very well. It just, whatever, you see the point. But so I'm gonna break these open and see if I can just adjust them and make them work for now, even though when I get these brake pads I'm probably gonna replace all of them anyway. So I'll have to take the front wheels off now. So I took the front wheel off and I was about to take the front drum off, but you know, common thing with these older quads and bikes, there's a bit of corrosion on it which prevented me from pulling it off with my hands. The rear one was just pretty well greased, so I didn't really have a problem with that. So I've attached this puller assembly to it, and now see if this works. Give it a few spins. There we go. Wow, that worked a lot better. Oops. And wow, looks like I slightly destroyed this brake pad. It's okay, we have more coming in the mail. Well, anyway, that's the inside of there. I guess I won't really be able to do anything with it today, but I'll at least grease this and make it so that I can just slip the pads in when they come in this week. So anyway, I think I'm gonna try to get the other sides off now. So greased this inner wheel bearing over here, and I should probably get to that one too in a second, but I also took off the hub for the left side, and it's a little crustier than the right side was, especially in here. So anyway, and so I don't really know what the problem was. I mean, this one appears to not even have any of the pads on it either, so they obviously all needed new pads. But I'm going to have to find out why when I pull this lever it doesn't even really want to go in, but it doesn't really do anything either. I'm pulling it continuously, or I mean like intermittently right now. So I don't really know what the problem with that is. I think I'm gonna have to take this apart and maybe grease the, I mean not grease, but like lubricate the the cables, I should say, because there's two of them. But anyway, I might even just buy new cables because they're not even that expensive. So anyway, but for now, I'm going to grease this hub and make it look better for when my shoes come in. So I'll get started on that right now. Alright, so I think I found the problem. So this actuator, which when the lever is pressed, or pulled I should say, sort of shifts 90 degrees this way and pushes the pads into the drum. The pin that it's on is seized inside of the sleeve because when I do this, it doesn't, you can just feel the pressure. It doesn't really want to move at all, and then it stays depressed like that. The springs don't make it return at all. So I'm going to take this bolt off and then take this pin out and clean it really nicely with a wire brush and then grease it. But pretty happy that it's not these cables because that would just be a pain to try to route these again. So anyway, I'll be taking both of these pins out and then cleaning them out. So I just took this hub off and now I have to hit this pin out because in order to get this pin out I had to take this control arm off, and any of you that have worked on these know how much of a pain these are to take off because you get it off of this first, you get these two detached, but you just can't get this to come out of here. But I finally got it off with a wrench. My trick is just to take a wrench and then sort of pry it like that. But anyway, got that off. So I think I'm gonna pound this out and then sand it and grease it and then do the same thing with the other side, and then it's probably all I can get done today. After that, I think I'll just clean everything, grease everything, and then wait for my shoes to come in. And then after that, I'll get working on the seat cover. So, there we go. Well, took it out, wire brushed it and greased it, and that is a lot better than before. Moves way freer. So anyway, gonna do the same thing with the next one, and then we'll just put this back together temporarily and I'll wait for my brake pads to come in. So now both sides are on and greased. I also cleaned up the inside of the hubs with the wire brush a little, but obviously didn't make it museum quality since it's going to be inside of the outer hub. But so I'm just going to pull the lever and show how the mechanism works now. So works pretty well on both. I'll just show you that one. But anyway, so I'm gonna put the hubs back on and then store this. So it's a new day. Have the quad out again. The brake shoes came in, but the cable didn't come in. So I'm gonna jack the quad up right now, and then I'm gonna switch the rear brake and see if I can get that to work before it gets dark out right now. And then when the shoes come in tomorrow, I will switch. The cable comes in tomorrow. I'll switch the front brake assembly out. So I'll get this up on the lift and get the wheel off, and then we'll get started. All right, so I got the old drum brake off, and then you can see the pads aren't even on it. And then this is the new drum brake assembly. And then I have this all apart again, and just greased this the shaft, which was problematic on the front brake. So gonna put this drum on right now, and then we'll get back to assembling it, and hopefully it works this time. So got that shoe on, and now I'm gonna reassemble the whole rear brake assembly. Well, it's a new day. I got the front brake cable in, and at the end of yesterday, I know I put the brake pads on, but it turns out that this control arm, or whatever nub, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a little too messed up for the brakes to fully sit at the flat position. I mean, it's a little skewed right now, but even when it's straight, it doesn't. It still doesn't allow them to be compressed enough for the outer drum to be installed. So I'm going to take this off and grind it a little on my grinding wheel, and then try to put it back on. And if that doesn't work, I might even have to grind a little bit off of here, but hopefully I don't have to do that. So anyway, I will do that and then pick up the camera again. Alright, so I ground away at this little control arm, so took a decent amount of the crud off the outside and it looks way flatter now. So I'm gonna try to install that and see if it works. Alright, well, I have the brake pad installed and now it fits. So time to reinstall the rest of it and hopefully this brake works now. Alright, front brakes work and they're back together. So now I disassembled the rear brakes. So first of all, you can see this front brake cable on the right side is just completely screwed. So that's the one I'll be replacing. So I will replace that, and then I'm guessing I'm going to have to take these pins out as well and grind them down. As you can see, that's what I meant by having like some crap on the top that wouldn't let them close. But if they do close, I'm not going to mess with them, but I'm guessing I'm going to have to do that. So I'll pick up the camera when I'm done with this. Alright, so since the last time I stopped recording, got the front brakes and the back brakes working. So now, as you can see, when I push the back brake, it stops right there, fully stops the quad. I also put a new terminal in for the positive terminal right here. I didn't heat shrink it or anything because, I mean, there's not really anything that it can touch and short out with. I also put this rack on. Now, this time when I put it on, I drilled it through the frame. So, I'm not sure if you guys remember, the holes here were stripped. I think that one was stripped too. But now, like, you pick it up. Like I said, I would be outside demonstrating it, but it's a little rainy, and then the brake is adjusted correctly now. So last thing I'm going to do in this part is get this seat going. It's in my basement right now, so I'm going to put the seat cover on in my basement, and then I will put it back together, and that'll be it for this episode. So okay, so now I am going to address the seat. I just received my custom seat cover in the mail, black with yellow accents. And then I also went to the hardware store and picked up some staples for my staple gun. I'm using my electronic staple gun because apparently a manual staple gun is not powerful enough to get through this plastic, and I hope my electric gun is strong enough. So anyway, I'm gonna start stapling. I'm not gonna take you guys through the whole process since I'm just gonna get this done because I have to do stuff today. So I'll pick up the camera when I finish. Alright, here's the finished product of putting the seat cover on. I think it did a pretty good job. I'm surprised with my work. It seems pretty tight all over, pretty snug. There's a little bit of wrinklage up at the gas tank area, but it's a vinyl seat cover, so I think if I let the four-wheeler sit out in the sun for a few days, I mean, obviously when it's not pouring outside, it'll look a lot better. And then if you look at my work under the seat, I made sure not to, I wasn't exactly trying to conserve staples when I did this. I just don't want it to fall off ever. So, and then I guess the method I used was I slung it around the first time and stapled it as tight as I could. And then what I would do is I would use the front of the staple gun to kind of push and then staple. So you can see right there, that's right there is my first row of staples. And then I would push it in further and then staple to get the wrinkles out. And I think it looks pretty good, so I'm just going to put it in. And there it is. I have a legitimate seat again. So anyway, that is going to be the conclusion of part 4. I think I'm on part 4 right now. So yeah, part 4. So we addressed the seat and the brakes. Forget if we even addressed anything else. It's just been so long since I've started recording this. And so next part, I am going to make a next part. It's going to be maybe the lights. I'm not too concerned about the lights. My main concern is this exhaust, this giant hole. I'm probably going to get a newer exhaust. And then, I don't know, I said I wasn't going to snorkel it, but I might snorkel it. So on that note, thank you for watching. And stay tuned and subscribe.